up, bitches? And welcome back to another episode of Minors of Mayhem, a true crime podcast that deep dives into minors who commit murder.
Delph.
I'm your co-host, Brianna, and with me is my mother, Eden.
Hey.
Thank you to our returning listeners, and if you're new here, welcome. As a warning, some episodes can be very graphic in detail, and we are also sorry that this episode is a week late. Unfortunately, winter and spring are fighting, and I'm rooting for spring.
We haven't even had a winter. What are you talking about?
I know, but I'm tired of the snow and the mud and the melting and the freezing and then
Oh God, the dog shit. My snowmobile battery has not even been installed in my snowmobile. My snowmobile has not left the storage unit.
Mm-hmm. It's been a mild winter, and I'm thankful for that. But they need to figure it out whether it's winter or spring.
Yeah, because the melting snow and the dog shit is no fun.
Anyways,
thanks for the wording.
I know, that's why I waited. We just had to take a quick pause. Anyways, yeah, I'm thankful that winter's been mild and we're not, stranded in our house surrounded by 10 feet of snow. However, I can't keep up with my hardwood floors because I'll clean them when it freezes and then it gets super nice and then my dog tracks in and my cat drag in so much dirt and mud, and then animal owners will know what I'm talking about.
Do you know what I had to do?
What?
Because the Doberman is such a princess and won't get her feet muddy, and my whole fenced-in area was nothing but mud. I had to make a special trip to mine it and buy straw and horse bedding and bed the whole back fenced-in area so Princess wouldn't get muddy feet.
Goodness. Mm-hmm. She's definitely spoiled and entitled is the perfect word for her. Words.
She had me up from 1 to 4 this morning.
Why?
Because she doesn't think she can come down the stairs from upstairs.
Oh, for peace.
She can go up, but she can't come down. So she laid on the landing and whined for 3 hours. Well, I'm not big enough to pick her up and carry her. Dad didn't wake up. So I just went and crawled in the bed downstairs and tried to drown out the sound.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a princess pain in the ass.
She doesn't know that her 2 new back legs work yet. She ain't figured it out.
No.
So.
Do you have any news or updates or anything you want to share with our listeners?
No.
No?
What you got for true crime news?
For true crime news today, in Washington, a 15-year-old male was taken into custody last week, several months after he allegedly shot and killed a rideshare driver who previously worked as an interpreter for the U.S. Special Forces in Afghanistan. For more information, you can find that story at truecrimedaily.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently, I skimmed through it, so I'm not gonna say what I think I read because I didn't fully process it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we'll look at it later. Today's episode is, I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it. It's a very famous case. So before we get into that, we have a spicy pickle vodka shot. It's a pickle shot. It's pickle juice and vodka, but it's spicy. I've had the regular ones that aren't spicy, and they're so good. I love, love, love pickle juice. Well, I usually take it with tequila. I haven't had a tequila shot probably in years, but tequila shot and chase it with pickle juice. Oh, I love tequila. I think I get that from you.
I do like tequila.
So,
Oh boy.
and it smells so good. I should have worn my pickle sweatshirt today.
And your pickle blanket and your
Leland took over my
pickle
blanket.
emotional support little feller.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Oof.
Oh.
Oh, that's good. Woo. It's spicy.
Oof.
That's got to burn. And I love spicy stuff. That's really good.
I wish I would have bought more of these.
But that's Tabasco sauce hot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's...
Well, Tabasco sauce is not really... Habanero,
Tabasco
maybe.
It's not really spicy,
No.
but...
That's good.
Highly recommend. Spicy pickle vodka shot.
That is very, very good.
Can we go to Mina and get some more?
Yes, let's go.
Oh,
that's good.
So...
What are we doing today?
I'm going to be talking about the murder of Maddie Clifton.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I know exactly which one you're doing.
Waterbed?
Yep.
Yep.
This one's so controversial. I'm surprised you're doing it.
Controversial how?
Well, you can look at it two different ways. Was he scared or was it intentional?
I know. Yes. In that aspect, yes. It is very controversial.
Was he that scared of his dad or did he just want to, and was there some little sexual motivation behind it? We don't know, do we?
That was, the prosecution tried bringing some of that in, and like, I didn't put this in there. Well, we'll discuss it afterwards.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised you're covering this one because it's so
wishy-washy.
It's a rough one.
It is very rough.
Because he was such a good kid. Yes. Nobody expected that.
No.
So was he really scared? I mean, yeah.
But have you heard anything about what he's been doing in prison and any of that?
I have not. Have you?
Yes.
Okay, this will be interesting then.
So
I know nothing.
So I think with what he's doing in prison, I truly probably believe that he was really scared.
Oh, okay.
In my own opinion, but it might be different for other people too.
Right, right.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, for sure.
I'll be interested to hear what you have to say then, because I don't know any of that.
Oh, okay. So, Joshua Earl Patrick Phillips was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania on March 17th, 1984, to Steve and Melissa Phillips. Gary!
He's going to pitch a fit here in a little bit.
I know, he'll be okay. Come here. To Steve and Melissa Phillips. Steve, who worked as a computer specialist, was a drug addict and alcoholic. He was very, very violent to Joshua and Melissa. Steve was also very strict on Joshua with rules. Mm-hmm. One being he wasn't allowed to have any friends over without Steve being there.
Yep.
Steve also really disliked young girls for unknown reasons. Melissa, his wife, said she didn't even understand why he disliked girls so much. So eventually, Steve packed up his family and moved to Jacksonville, Florida. This move would separate Joshua from his two half-brothers, Daniel and Benji. The three boys were best friends. They enjoyed going to movies, concerts, listening to music, and just hanging out. It seemed that no matter how hard, particularly Daniel, begged Steve not to move or take Joshua, Steve was going to do what he wanted to do, and he did. It's safe to assume that moving to Florida was very devastating for the boys. When the family arrived in Jacksonville, Joshua had difficulty making friends at first and felt very isolated because he didn't have anybody. Neighbors would describe Joshua as quiet and friendly. One neighbor, Sheila Clifton, said that Joshua and her daughter Maddie were friends and had no reasons to dislike him or be afraid of him or anything like that. Joshua's school teacher said of him he was a popular student but didn't stand out. He didn't stand out but was like fun and silly and outgoing. So across the street from their home lived the All-American family named the Cliftons, Steve, Sheila, Jesse, and Maddie. From what I could find about Maddie, she loved sports, especially basketball. She had that Kool-Aid smile, had big brown eyes, and she also played the piano. If you look up pictures, and I'm sure you've seen pictures of her, she is so adorable. So cute. And she was the type of kid that always rooted for the underdog because she didn't like people feeling lonely and isolated.
Oh.
She just like really resonated with people. And I love that about her. I bet she would have been an amazing person if she wasn't taken.
So from what you have said so far, I'm leaning towards he was scared. Just because what you said about the father being a drug addict and an alcoholic and
abusive and strict rules, which I mean, I had strict rules growing up too, but not to the point of where like I was scared of you or anything like that.
Right.
But go ahead.
I didn't know about that. The addictions in the
really?
father. No.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that even adds to my theory that this child was terrified.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't wait for you to hear what he's doing in prison.
Okay, get to it.
On November 3rd, 1998, Sheila arrived home from voting when Maddie ran outside telling her mom she would be home by supper time. Maddie had been hitting golf balls when she headed home to gather more balls. Unfortunately, this would be the last time anyone, aside from her killer Joshua, would see her alive. Joshua was home alone when Maddie came over to see if Joshua wanted to play baseball. Mind you, Joshua is 14 years old at this time and Maddie is 8 years old. Even though Joshua knew he wasn't supposed to have friends over when his parents were gone, he still agreed to play with Maddie. And
they were playing baseball, right?
Yeah, they were playing baseball. So I feel like, and they were outside. It's not like they were inside. I mean, growing up, there was times when you were gone and you would tell us, or you would leave us a note saying, no kids in the house, play outside.
Yep.
If you want to
have
friends over. Yep. So I can see why he wanted to play. And I'm sure he was bored. I mean, he had nobody, really. When the two were playing baseball, Joshua accidentally hit Maddie in the face with the ball. This caused Maddie to bleed, cry, and scream. This is when panic set in for Joshua because he knew his abusive father would be home soon and was scared shitless of what his reaction would be. And this is where the tragedy and mistakes were made. Joshua grabbed Maddie, drug her into his home, and according to Joshua, causing her clothes from the waist down to fall off. And this is where you probably think it's controversial if he really wanted to hurt Maddie, because in one report, or the prosecution's report, I can't remember who made the report, I didn't put it in here. It said that there was no evidence of her clothes falling off from being drugged from outside into the home because there wasn't any dirt or scratch marks or anything like that.
But that could have happened in the house too.
Right.
It could have started out there. They could have started rolling as he was pulling her.
Right.
And then as he gets her in the house, the carpet could help, especially if she didn't have good fitting clothes on, which, do we know that? We don't have a clue.
No.
I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Right.
It's not.
Exactly.
Okay.
When he got Maddie into his bedroom, he hit her with the baseball bat to stop her from screaming. He then shoved her unconscious body underneath his waterbed. Steve arrived home and Joshua talked to him for a little bit, but then he realized he could hear Maddie moaning and groaning in pain. So he went back to his bedroom. Joshua lifted the mattress up to reveal Maddie. He then used the knife of a Leatherman tool, cut Maddie's throat, and stabbed her in the chest several times. According to the autopsy report, Maddie suffered from 3 separate attacks. She was hit 3 times on her forehead and the top of her head, wounds that would have been fatal about 30 minutes after infliction. The wounds on her neck perforated her windpipe, causing her to bleed to death or drown in her own blood.
Mm-hmm.
The wounds to her chest were performed after she was already dead. The report also showed that Maddie's hand was gripping a bracket under the bed, indicating that she was still alive when Joshua put her under his bed.
Mm-hmm.
When Maddie didn't return home in time for supper, like she promised her mother, Sheila instantly reported Maddie missing. Police, family, friends, volunteers, and even Joshua searched for Maddie for 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
The day after the murder, police talked to Joshua about Maddie and told police that he had seen her the day before, but he didn't play with her due to their age difference. And I'm sure he made that up to avoid his dad being angry. Police searched the shed and Steve's car, but found nothing alarming as to Maddie being missing. A couple days later, police talked to Joshua again while he was sitting on his bed. Maddie was literally right under the police's nose.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until November 10th that Maddie's body was discovered. Apparently, Sheila went into Joshua's room to put laundry away and clean when she noticed a spot on the floor by his waterbed. Thinking nothing of it, she just thought that his waterbed had a leak in it.
It had leaked before, one other time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When she went to investigate, she discovered the lifeless body of 8-year-old Maddie Clifton.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila was screaming and crying when she ran outside and flagged down police who were in the neighborhood doing investigations. Mm-hmm. Sheila led police into Joshua's room. When they opened the door, they seen 2 small feet with white socks sticking out from under the waterbed, along with the liquid that seeped out.
Mm-hmm.
The strong odor filled the bedroom and was sealed off as a crime scene. And a lot of people asked, like, why didn't anybody notice the strong smell? Well, this family had multiple birds as pets.
And he had some in his room.
Yep. And so they just thought the smell was the birds and.
Yep. And his room was a mess, from what I understand.
Yep.
Typical 14-year-old boy.
Yep. Police immediately went to Joshua's school to pick him up and question him down at the station. There, he confessed to killing Maddie. When his room was searched, police found lots of air fresheners, rolls of tape, a bat behind the dresser, and the Leatherman tool he used to kill Maddie. Joshua was arrested and would be tried as an adult. The trial started on July 6th, 1999, only lasting 2 days. Joshua's lawyer, Richard D. Nichols, didn't even call a witness to the stand, which the prosecution thought was a risky strategy. Richard based his argument around, quote, Maddie's death was an act that began as an accident and deteriorated through panic that bordered on madness, unquote. The defense also tried to show scans from a neurologist showing damage to the frontal lobe, which associates with panic and impaired judgment. So he has some frontal lobe damage too. The prosecution wanted to submit evidence of Joshua looking up pornography on his computer. However, the judge ruled both pieces inadmissible. Apparently, Richard didn't even attempt to question Joshua about the tragedy, but instead played chess with him before the trial.
So no character witnesses, no nothing.
Nope, nothing. He called nobody.
Why did they try to have a mistrial? Okay.
As a mother, Sheila didn't agree with how Richard was handling her son's case.
I wouldn't either.
But Steve insisted that they let the lawyer do as he wished.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That should have been a mistrial. He could have got a new trial based on a shitty lawyer not doing his job.
Yep.
I mean, there should have been character witnesses, school teachers, friends. Because the kid didn't have a mean bone in his body, correct?
Correct.
That should have been stated and brought up in front of the fucking jury.
Oh.
Okay.
I know it.
Okay.
The jury took just over 2 hours to find Joshua guilty of first-degree murder. Since he was under 16 years old, the death penalty was off of the table, so they gave him life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Now, in 2012, the Supreme Court found the mandatory life sentences were unconstitutional. Joshua became eligible for a resentencing hearing. So in September 2016, Joshua's lawyer appealed the court and was granted a new sentencing.
Same lawyer?
Yes.
Oh,
sentencing hearing.
Okay.
As far as I know. In 2017, Maddie's family had to relive the horrific murder of their daughter, who didn't want Joshua to be free, so they requested his sentence be upheld. In November, Joshua's sentence was upheld and was sentenced to life in prison, but was eligible for resentencing again in 2023.
Okay.
So I think there was a lot of appeals through this, because it kind of repeats itself. In December 2019, the Florida First District Court of Appeal upheld the sentence and said it would be reviewed again and possibly modified in 2023 based on demonstrated maturity and rehabilitation. So, yeah. Meanwhile, in prison, Joshua achieved his GED and took college classes. He actually works as a paralegal, helping other prisoners with their appeals, and also does some tutoring. He played guitar in a band, attends religious services, and yoga. In 2008, Joshua refused to write an apology letter to Maddie's family because he said They wouldn't be able to hear the sincerity of his apology in a letter, so he wanted an in-person apology. But Maddie's mother refused, having no interest in talking with him. As of today, Joshua Phillips is still incarcerated. This is where he's doing wonderful things.
He's in his 40s now?
Yes.
It's time to be out.
Well, I mean, look at everything he's achieved. GED, college, being a paralegal. He's being a role model prisoner. This is why I truly believe that he was scared of his father.
And panicked.
Yep.
And with the scans of the frontal lobe, that kind of backs the panic theory up.
Right.
But
and
his lawyer really did a shitty job.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah.
Defending him.
Right. I'm going to read an article about Joshua's brother, who had talked about his relationship with his half-brother and all of that. Because it's quite interesting to see how this case is controversial, and then having, his half-brother kind of teeter with it too, because I'll get into it.
Okay.
He basically says, like, oh, this article is firstcoastnews.com. I'm going to be quoting it, so I don't want to get in trouble or anything. But it basically says, Daniel Phillips is still haunted by the day his father decided to move to Florida many years ago, taking Daniel's half-brother Joshua, and Joshua's mother Melissa. I wish Joshua had never left Pennsylvania, Daniel told First Coast News, but I could say that a million times and that's not going to change anything. What Daniel and countless others would like to change most is that on November 3rd, 1998, Joshua, at the time 14 years old, murdered his 8-year-old neighbor, Maddie Clifton. Our father took Joshua away from me. What does that mean? What does that mean? 11 years Joshua's senior said? 11 years Joshua's? So he's 11 years older than Daniel? Or Joshua, I mean? Oh, sorry. Daniel said he would, this is a quote from, I should have wrote this out. I am so sorry. Our father took Joshua away from me, Daniel said. He would have had me. He would have had Benji as well. He would have had an uncle to my kids, and he would have assimilated to my life here. Daniel described the close life they all briefly shared in Pennsylvania, including the concerts, the music, and the movies together. He's my little brother, and I love him, Daniel said. But he also made clear that the ultimate sentiment is the result of a 19-year gauntlet of very contrasting emotions, including the temptation to disown Joshua entirely. He explained that he visited Joshua 2 or 3 times after his conviction and then went through a couple stages himself. Quote, when all 3 of my kids would turn 8, Maddie Clifton's age when she died, it made it tougher for me, Daniel said. I would get angry and I wouldn't write to him and I wouldn't kind of be involved with him. I've been back and forth because I'm human and I'm a father and I'm a parent, he said. But I'm also a brother, he added, revealing part of his own conflict. Another conflict Daniel Phillips emphasized has been his respect and sympathy for Maddie Clifton's family.
Mm-hmm.
I could never say I know how they feel because I don't. I can only relate in certain ways. I'm a dad and I can only conceive of what that would feel like. And like Jessie, I'm a sibling, you know. I know what that feels like. Jessie is Maddie's sister. Daniel explained the age-old ache of a public belief that his family had been dismissive of the Cliftons after the tragedy. Quote, believe me, we've always thought of the Cliftons, always. They were always in our hearts and we always wanted to talk to them and address them, but we had some blockades there. So they did want to talk, like not Joshua perhaps, but per se. Quote, I respect how they continue to fight through what they've endured. And like Joshua said, I want them to find peace someday.
Mm-hmm.
So even though his brother committed this murder, he still loves him.
Mm-hmm.
But then he looks at his own kids and it's like it's so conflicting on his side as well. I mean, I don't know if
I'm surprised you covered this one. It's a
it
at
was
the end of the day, a little girl lost her life.
exactly, and it shouldn't have happened.
It should not have happened.
No. But I've never been so scared of, like, I don't know. What kind of abuse did he endure that made him so scared? I mean, his father was an alcoholic and a drug addict. That alone can skyrocket abusive behaviors and multiply them.
Plus,
so we don't know.
Did he have an injury to his frontal lobe, or what's the deal with that?
I didn't find anything. I couldn't.
But they said it was the part that was panic and
and in judgment, impaired judgment. So, I mean, it shouldn't have happened.
No.
Regardless.
Like I said, at the end of the day, there's a little girl that lost her life and a family that is without.
But, you know, even in 2023 when, well, maybe I don't know. I don't know if the case was reviewed or modified in 2023. They didn't have any updates. But he's still incarcerated.
And it doesn't sound to me like Maddie's family is ready to forgive.
No.
At all.
And they probably won't.
No, it's been quite a while. And
you know, we have some cases that are like, you know, we lost a son too, and are there for each other in a way, or have some sort of respect for one another. And it just seems like in other cases, they want nothing to do with any of it.
I can't say I blame them.
No, I mean, I wouldn't know how to feel in that situation, because we can talk all we want, but until we've been in that situation, been in their shoes,
hi Gary,
we can't fully wrap our brains around it.
No, I couldn't tell you one way or the other what I would do.
Me neither. But I would like to think that I would.
But we don't.
But
we
just don't.
We don't have a clue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's it.
And after 2 decades of the murder, Jessie, Maddie's sister, actually moved back into the family home
Hmm.
in Jacksonville. Yeah.
I mean, I hate this case.
I do too. I remember watching this on, I can't remember if it was like some investigation ID or whatever, but I remember the scene where
I killed my best friend, maybe.
I think
Or
that
killer kids, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I just remember like whenever I talked about when they opened his bedroom door and they seen the white little socks with the little frill. I remember it's like burned into my brain.
Yeah, I've never liked this case.
Me neither.
I can't believe you did it. Shame on you.
Why?
Well, at least now we never have to cover it again.
Yeah.
It's done.
Unless there's an update.
I would like some updates, though, because he's been in there for, I don't know.
I can't math. Don't look at me. So 1984 to 2024, 84, 94, 04, 14.
So he's closer to 50?
40 years? He's been in prison for 40 years.
So he's my age.
He was born 1984.
Oh, 84? No, he's way younger than me then. Or was Maddie born in 84?
No, he was born in 84.
I must have my dates crossed in my head.
Yeah, 1984.
Okay.
So he would be 40-ish. And in 98, 08, 18.
Do you have enough fingers?
27 years? I can't math. So he's been in prison for 27 years.
And no infractions in prison?
Nope.
Nothing?
No. Has never had any issues.
It might be time.
I mean, it's not like it's all about the rehabilitation, right?
Well, he got his education.
He was 14 years old when this happened. That's no excuse. Don't get me wrong.
No,
like what
it's
he
not.
did was absolutely terrible and absolutely wrong in every aspect. But you can't change the past. I mean, what happened has happened. He's done a lot of time, and he's not wasting his time in prison. He's not just getting by. He's working towards to being better. Granted, Maddie didn't get that chance.
I know. Gosh, dang it.
I don't know.
Oh, this is a hard one.
Know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Because still at the end of the day, there's a little girl that doesn't have her life.
Yeah.
Damn it. I hate this case.
It's heartbreaking. It was
hate
rough.
This case.
It took me a while to do my research and
don't ever have to look at it again.
That is
unless there's an
unless
update.
There's an update.
I don't like this case. How dare you?
Since this is such a controversial case, we would love to hear what you guys think of it and your opinions on it.
Oh God, yes.
There's no judgment here, obviously.
I could teeter both ways.
I could too. It's hard. We would like to hear other people's input. You can do that by emailing us at minorsofmayhem@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. Just go in your search bar, type in Minors of Mayhem, shoot us a message about this case. We truly want to hear your opinion. Or if you have any other case recommendations, any
constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism, yes, that would be great. I always dread my week that I have to do a case because when I listen to yours, I'm like, it's so well put together and you know the right words to say and you make it flow so nicely. And when I do my cases, I feel like I'm just all over the place and it doesn't flow and it doesn't sound as good.
I think you do great. I love it when it's your week. I think you're awesome.
You're awesome.
No, you're more awesome.
So
that was a good case. I didn't have the guts to touch on this one.
Really?
I can't believe you did it.
Really?
You got bigger cojones than I do.
Why?
I wasn't going to touch this case with a 10-foot pole.
I get that it's controversial.
I didn't want to touch it.
Also, Maddie deserves her story to be told.
Maddie deserves her story to be told, yes. And at the end of the day, she is gone. But
I know.
It's not black and white. That's the freaking shitty part about this case. It is not cut and dried.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would have never touched it. So yeah, hats off, sis. Nope.
Oh.
Well, I think I got a gruesome one for you next week, though.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, gruesome. Yeah, I'm going to get in some gore. Like decapitating and...
I mean, we just had our...
Boiling heads.
We just had our mental break.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring you back hard and strong.
You're going to give me nightmares.
Yes, I am.
Okay. That'll be all right. Well, until next week.
Stay tuned for the blood and guts. That sounds so bad. Like I enjoy it.
What do you mean you do enjoy it?
Oh, crap.
Until next week, we hope you keep listening. We hope to hear from you about your opinions. Stories, yes.
Stay safe. Keep your ass clean.
Stay safe. Keep your ass clean and at home. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.